What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of 52 Books. I know it's been a while. You probably like, bro, we got 3 weeks down the hole. I know it. We 3 weeks in the hole. Well, we're 3 weeks video-wise in the hole. Book-wise, we still trucking. We still doing it. Man, I got COVID, yo. I got COVID, man. I was sick, man. It was crazy, man. If you want to know, you don't have to, but if you want to know about it, man, I might put up a video about it later. But, man, I got sick. I was finished, man. 1 week, I could not read, but thankfully, I was already, like, halfway through the book. I couldn't do anything but rest and stay in the bed. But I'm better now, and I was like, man, I need to get up a video and whatnot. This probably messed me all up in the algorithm and whatnot. But this week, man, we are reading Zora Neale Hurston, Their Eyes Were Watching God. This book was an amazing read, man. We're just going to do one video for this book. The main character, Janie, the book follows her, and this is around 19 something, where Jim Crow was still happening and all that. She was very light skinned. She could almost pass as white, but she was very light skinned. Jane wanted to have love. She wanted to have love. She wanted to marry for love, but her grandmother told her that it's not for love that you marry for protection. And so the grandmother had already arranged for Janie to be married to this other gentleman. Now, Janie did not want to marry this other gentleman because she didn't like him. She already had somebody she was interested in. But her grandma was like, nah, this is who you're gonna marry. You'll end up falling in love with him. Fast forward, Jane married this gentleman named Logan Killicks. Logan is a cool guy, but she not in love with him. And she thought that after she got married, she would fall in love with this man. And it never happened. Logan, he wanted her in the house, have the food ready, as were the times, you know? As were the times. Hey, man, be in the house, have the food ready. He will work on the farm. He had a whole bunch of acres. A whole bunch of acres that he managed. So he had money. You feel me? But she just wasn't happy. Logan goes off to go buy a second mule because crop prices are going up. So he figured if I have 2 mules, I'll make double. So as he is gone, this other gentleman comes into Jane's life. This gentleman was walking down the driveway one day, and so she saw him, and she offered him some water, and so he's talking sweet to her, and she's like, yo, I'm married type stuff, I can't really be with you type stuff. And they continue to talk, and the town folks starting to see it, but they ain't paying no mind. And he tells her, he says, yo, you come with me, man, I'll change your life. I'm not gonna keep you in the house, you're gonna be with me. And Jane, for her sake, she wasn't in love with her current husband. She wanted something more. So she ends up leaving Logan Killicks. They have this huge discussion and whatnot, argument. She ends up leaving and meeting Mr. Stark, where he said, hey, if you love me, you're going to meet me here. She goes and meets him before it's too late. They get on a train, they go to Florida. Their lives change. And so for Joe, he changes Janie's life. He loves her, but not only that, he's a businessman. He came into this town who had no mayor at all. He became mayor. He brought money into the town. He brought street lights into the town. He even set up a whole convenience store type stuff. And he has Janie working in the store. And there's love there. There's love. There's respect. But he wouldn't let Janie go places. He would just want her to stay in the store or stay in the house whenever his guys will come over and hang out and whatnot. he would be like, nah, you ain't supposed to be out here, go back inside. That affected Janie. She wanted more. She wanted to be free. She wanted to be her own woman. But these stipulations of you can't do this, you can't do that, it was bothering her. So one marriage, she's stuck in the house. The second marriage, she's able to come out and do different things, but she doesn't feel free in herself fully. Time goes on, and she's acquiring a whole bunch of wealth at this time because my man has a lot of money and he's married to her. They end up having this dispute one day, and it was just bad. And she basically roasted this man's manhood in front of his friends. And you know, back in the day, you don't do that. So you know, he pow pow type stuff. And from that point on, he resented her. He didn't want to talk to her. He slept in a separate room. And every time she would request to go and see him, because he ended up getting sick. Every time she would request to go see him, he did not want to see her. And so she was hurt and she was dead. She was starting to die on the inside. He ends up dying. But before he dies, Janie's like, I need to get something off my chest. So without him calling for her, she goes into his room. And she starts saying, man, I ain't been happy, da-da-da-da. You've been treating me this way. You never did this. You never did that, da-da-da-da. And she just had to let it all out. My man ends up dying. So now she's lonely. She's about 40 at this time. She has this big house. She has this convenience store. And dudes are trying to hit her up. Dudes trying to hit her up, flirt with her, talk to her, but she's not interested. You know, she's not interested in anything that they are trying to push to her. Because she just feels like, you know what? My husband just died. I need some alone time, and I'm not really interested in anybody. Until this other gentleman comes. His name is T-Cake. And he's a young buck. He's like 10 years younger than her. And he just sweeps her off her feet. He shows her how to play checkers, which was a big deal because Joe didn't teach her. He didn't want her playing games. He didn't want her to be... this guy, TK, showed her how to fish. He showed her how to shoot. He showed her how to play checkers, of course. And everything he did, he wanted her to be a part of it. And as he would tell her, he said, girl, as long as you with me, you have the whole kingdom. Now, cats were like, yo, he's only with you for your money and all of that. But TK told her, he said, yo, I'm not with you for your money. He said, I have my own money. He ain't have a lot. He was a worker. But he had a little something. She ends up marrying T-Cake, leaving her house, leaving the store, and moving down further, moving down to Orlando with T-Cake. They're staying in an apartment. And so you see where she goes. She goes from these big houses, from all this money, and she just wants love. She wants to be loved. She wants to feel love. And she wants that to express in different things. And the only person that is doing that for her is T-Cake. Because T-Cake loved her so much, he said, man, where I am, I want you there with me. So as this man will go and work in the muck and whatnot, in the mud, she was there with him. And she didn't have to because she had tons of money in the bank. But she chose to be with him because he loved her. And there's a lot of ups and downs in the story. T-Cake ends up dying after a good marriage. After a good marriage, he ends up dying, and it was sad the way he died. And she ends up moving back to her big house that she owned from her previous marriage and all that. But this book is about this woman finding love, not just in the person she married, but also in all things. In the way she was treated, in the way she was talked to. Not to say that T-Cake never beat her, he did. But, as were the times. but it was different. Not to justify beating on a woman, but it was different. She knew he really loved her. And so this is a story about a woman who just wants to be loved and wants to be with somebody that she loves, and not just for protection, not just for money, but for actual love. And she goes through so much. It's a really good story. It's won several awards. If you haven't read Their Eyes Were Watching God, it is a must read. Thank you all for tuning in to 52 Books. We back at it again. Lord willing, I don't get sick again. But we back at it again. If you got a video or a book you want me to talk about, put it in the comments below. Peace.